Okay. So risk assessment, it is the process of assessing the risk to the people's safety, health from a workplace hazard. So any given point in time, you are flying the drone, you need to do risk assessment. How do you do risk assessment? For example, before flying the drone, I will make sure that I am following the pre-checklist. So that means I am making sure there is no risk involved. I will check the wind speed, okay, wind speed, wind direction, all that things will. So I am minimizing risk. If I don't do all these things, what I will be doing it, I am ignoring them, or I am doing assumptions and then trying to fly, and then later on I will fall into the trouble. So to avoid all these things, you should always do risk assessment, whether this condition is suitable for flying or not, whether my drone is at a good condition or not. All this information you need to see. The source, situation, or act with the potential for harm in terms of human injury or ill health or damage to the property or a combination of these is called as hazard. Okay, example of hazard could be lion out of his cage. It's a hazardous situation, right? It can attack, it can kill anybody. Okay, so that is a hazard. So lion being out of the cage is a hazardous situation. Now, what is the risk of the lion out of the cage? It can create injury, it can kill people. So this is a risk. So what is the hazardous situation? For example, if there is a crack on my propeller, that is a hazardous situation. If I ignore, some other day in the flight itself, my propeller might crack or break. वो क्या हो जाएगा फिर? At that point in time, my drone will become unstable. It may fall down. It may crash also. So that risk I am carrying it. So if there is a hazardous situation, something I need to take care. So if there is any damage, any issue, you should immediately report and you should immediately take it rectified. Okay, you should not carry out with that same issue or damages in the drone. Okay, the combination of likelihood of occurrence of a hazardous event or exposure of injury or ill health that can be caused by event or exposure is a risk. Okay, so if you see that there is a lion is out of the cage, that is a hazardous situation. If you do not control or do not put back the lion, you are putting people under the risk. It can create injury to the people, or people can get killed also, right? Now let's see what is emergency. Now emergency is a situation that poses an immediate risk to the health, life, property, or environment. Emergency means emergency, immediate. Okay, you have to take action around it. Whenever there is an emergency situation, you have to take control of it. The unforeseen combination of circumstance or resulting state that calls for immediate action. So whenever there is an emergency, what is required? Immediate action is required. Okay, so this is very important. Emergency means immediate action. Okay, remember these words. Okay, in case what kind of emergency situation possesses an immediate risk to health, life, property, or environment. Okay, so anything, even property means even your drone is also property. Okay, or environment, it could be a bigger environment. So in that scenario, you should immediately call for action. Okay, call for immediate action. Okay, so what type of emergency can be fire, medical, environmental, human, or a technical also, hardware or software emergencies can occur. So emergencies can be reduced or mitigated by preparing an emergency plan. For example, I know I am running a resort. I am having a resort. So in a resort, the fire can occur. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
When fire occurs, what will happen? It will be emergency situation. So how do I prepare for that emergency situation? What I will do?
Having fire extinguishers ready.
Have fire extinguisher. What else? If some see fire extinguisher will only minimize your small fire, but if the fire is bigger, then what
Make sure your staff is trained for this
staff
firefighting.
is trained for one of the another plan you would have. What else? What else you can do? Fire बहुत
You
बड़ा
have
Using
होता
fire
है.
hydrants.
use
Fire
of
hydrants
sand,
available.
Okay, sorry.
use of sand.
Use of sand. Yes, that is also one of the option available. If the fire
Make
is
sure
beyond
your
your control.
you should have easy access to your resort for fire tenders.
Correct. Okay, so like that, you should know also where is your fire extinguisher or fire station nearby. You should have those numbers. Your staff should be trained. You should have a fire extinguisher. You can keep sand buckets. You can keep ample water, like a lot of time, places have a separate water tank for fire control also. Even in the high tower buildings, you will see in our towers, normally there is a separate water tank only kept for fire related issues, right? And there is a separate power water line is there for fire things also. On every floor, there will be a fire extinguishers. On every floor, there would be a separate water line tank, especially for extinguishing these fires on the floor wise. So these things are there. So similarly, in resort, I am doing battery charging. So I know at given any given point in time, my battery can blown up or can go faulty or it can catch fire. So what I have done is I have made sure that I have brought small fire extinguisher. So I bought 3 fire extinguishers over there. So I kept that fire. Even sometimes when I'm flying the drone fly होते हुए भी कभी-कभी drone में आग लग सकती है. So I will whenever I'm flying the drone in the field, I will make sure that I will have a fire extinguisher there. It is small effect. So every time you cannot control any small situation and you cannot be ready for it. But whatever is options available or whatever you can do, you should do that for your emergency. So emergency plan specific procedure for handling sudden or unexpected situation. At least first level, you should able to take care of that emergency. You may not be able to take care of a big fire by using a small extinguisher. So in that case, you are to dependent on fire station or fire people only. Okay, you may have to call them. So, but again, that point in time when the fire होता तभी आग लगा तभी नहीं कर सकते ना उनका नंबर ढूंढना and all things. So you should know. Okay, being as an organization or being as a institution, you should have those numbers available with you. Okay. So similarly, there could be a medical emergency. So I should know what are the local hospitals available, local doctors available nearby me. Environmental, since I am doing like for example, I am running a resort. In resort, there is a possibility a lot of time, environmental damages happens or something like snake aa jata hai kabhi, yeah, some wild animal might come in. So that time you should know the people from forest departments or those people who catch snakes and they dispose it back to the forest areas and all this. So you should know about it. Sometimes even human emergency bhi aa jata hai, something related to what we call um, ill health ho jata hai, या somebody get like other day in the resort, one boy was actually playing near the swimming pool and all of a sudden he skidded and he fall down and he got hurt on his head. Okay, so temporary हमने उसको medical kit से first aid box से we just applied some lotion and just put it and then we took him to the doctor. At least first level emergency we had then rather getting it more worse and all things. We just applied the first level of what is that mitigation and then he was taken immediately to the doctor like that. So it again case to case basis the emergency can happen. Okay, oh ladka, that guy, that small kid who fall, their parents were more panicked than that guy. So sometimes even those people needs to be pacified. Okay, don't worry, we'll take care. We have to send our 2 staffs with along with them in a car to the doctor and all this thing and then so that lady was just like crying like anything. Okay, so we have to pacify them also. So we have to manage humans also. So these are all emergency situations. So basically, this topic is come because your aeroplane is flying. When aeroplane is in air, there could be a different types of emergencies. Okay, aeroplane को आग लग सकता है. There could be a medical emergency in the aeroplane itself. There could be environmental like turbulence or all these things all happens, right? Or human hijacking हो सकता है आपके aeroplane को. Or there could be a technical hardware or software emergency like your autopilot going faulty or your engine getting on fire. All these emergencies are these are all emergencies. So aeroplane people are being trained and then aeroplane is being made at such a way that it can handle all these kind of emergencies. Okay, so that is how they are equipped with it. So similarly from the drone perspective, DGCA wants you to consider some sort of emergency topics over here. Okay, so what is the first emergency can happen is loss of communication of control link. Okay, so that means your drone and your RC, there could be a loss in communication. So every time your drone is hovering means what? Why it is hovering at that particular location? Because your RC is giving you 50% throttle to it. Okay, there is a throttle given to it and the throttle is communicating every time with the drone. So there is a handshake happening between the drone and the RC. Okay, the moment drone knows that it is no longer able to receive a signal from the RC or not getting the handshake, it will know that it has lost the control of lost the communication from the RC. It will wait for some period time, maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, if it doesn't receive back the signal from the RC, it may trigger the RTL or RTH. Okay. तो what is the possibility? अगर ये हम लोग नहीं करेंगे, contingency plan नहीं रहेगा या mitigation plan नहीं रहेगा, तो our pass may crash into one or more buildings, obstacles resulting in widespread secondary injury to human from US debris or building damage. So this is possible in case of stray away. Your drone is out of control. But to reduce this effect, what we are doing, what is the contingency plan we are having? Communication failure हो रहा है, also trigger the smart return to home, where aircraft return to the safe altitude or safe location. So this feature is configured by the OEM, that is called FSCOM. Okay, this parameter is there in the software, in the drone software itself, that is called FSCOM. So if, let's say, for example, in 30 seconds it doesn't receive the handshake from the RC, automatically your RTL or RTH will get triggered. So this is something called as GCS failsafe. Okay, so the moment you lose the signal from your GCS or the remote control, the drone will automatically trigger the RTH or RTL. Okay. Same goes for the geofencing. Like as I said, we have a geofencing created at our ground. Okay. So whenever we try to fly away or near to the geofencing, it will always trigger my RTL. Okay. So geofencing is always enabled and do not allow pilot to fly outside the defined corridor, because near my ground, other ground, like one side there is a villa, other side there is a resort, other side there is a ground which is having lot of mango trees, other side there is a dip, okay, or there is a, what we say, watery area is there, and then there is a bungalow, another bungalow is there. So I do not want my pilot to wrongly fly the drone away from my ground. Okay, and that is what been mandatorily told by DGCA to create a geofencing around your ground. Okay, so this is there. So aircraft fly away or geofence non-conformance. So if this is there, if you try to over shoot out away from towards the geofence or thing, automatically your drone will trigger RTF. Okay. Battery power loss. Like I am charging my battery to 100%. I am using. Nishant has flown the drone. Then Priyam has flown. Then Gautam has flown. Then Kapil would have flown. So if you four people fly, you will be consuming 10% of your battery. Okay. So 10% means what? From 100% it will come to 60%. Okay. Again, suppose Nishant flies one more time. So he will again consume 10 more percent. So I will reach 50%. So 40% is my threshold. So normally I will not go up to the threshold area. After once I cross my 50%, I will land. I will ask Nishant, please land the drone and change the batteries. Okay, so Nishant will land the drone. He will put off the drone. He will put off the RC. He will remove the battery, change the battery. He will put off RC first. Then he will on the drone. Okay, that is the sequence what we need to follow. Yes, Nishant.
So why so much of safety? I mean, can't the battery be till 30% or 40%?
It's basically discharging cycle we have to follow. So 50% is the idealistic. See, normally it is the 40%. It depends upon how much you want, how you want. Because here we are flying, okay, learning. Your consumption of your battery is very fast because you are not efficient flyers. जैसे हम लोग, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप कार ड्राइव कर रहे हो, स्टार्टिंग में कार ड्राइव करते हो, आप कौन से गियर में चलाते हो? फर्स्ट गियर में चलाते हो,
First,
राइट?
second
वेयर
year.
your petrol usage is very high. Similarly, when you are flying a drone, you are training. Now you are getting trained. If you are an efficient pilot, I can set a threshold to 10% also, or maybe 20% also. Again, it depends how far I am flying and how far I am coming back. Because I should have that much power. If I am flying far, I should have a threshold from where the drone should come back also. It should have that much power to come back also. So that's why in this scenario they have set it to 40%. Okay, so 40% पे वो trigger हो जाएगा, RTL हो जाएगा. So I do not want that RTL to be triggered on its own. So I will normally land my drone at 50%. कभी कभी हम लोग 46, 45 तक भी जाते हैं. But beyond 45 we don't take it. Okay, because RTL trigger होगा. तो RTL trigger होगा तो वापस, I will, nothing will happen. It is a safety feature. Okay, it will only trigger the safety feature. So just to avoid, we will down it, and to safeguard our battery also, because we don't want battery to get discharged beyond 50%. क्योंकि हमारा चार्जिंग साइकिल जल्दी हो जाए, because again we have to charge that battery na for the next cycle. Okay, so we
Correct.
charge after 50%. So that even that 50% takes 1 hour time. To charge that 50% of battery, I have to charge it for at least minimum 1 hour. So just to repeat that cycle, I'm charging it for 50%. Okay, RPAS loss of control again. If you lost the control of RPAS, I mean from drone, I mean it is the same thing like a first communication, right? Where it is not communicating. Like sometimes GPS will you lose the GPS signal or anything else. So in that scenario also, if you lose the control of a RPAS, you should try to take the control of manual mode. Okay, try to see if you can take the control of a manual mode, or maybe go near the drone or something like that. Okay, because lot of time stabilization position hold based on GPS and INS reduce an uncontrollable action risk. Okay, so you need to see whether it is sometimes GPS because of the cloudy area, GPS may not be receiving the signal because of the heat and temperature. Even your IMU also get faulty or they may get malfunction and all that. So in that scenario, you should always try to see whether you can take a manual control of the drone. Okay, because you are right now flying the drone in a loiter mode. So you put the drone in a manual mode. Okay, so manual mode is means whatever control you are. So now no longer drone is receiving any signal from the sensors. Your sensors are only your four joysticks. Okay, so whatever signal you give, whatever try to you do, the drone will behave as per that. Okay, so it is a complete, though it is called manual and pilot in command mode. This is the most unstable mode. Okay, because the drone will not be stable. Even the slightest air will drift the drone left right. Okay, so you need to take a manual control and land the drone immediately as possible to reduce any further damages. Okay, unsuccessful landing or flight termination. Okay, so a lot of time when we are landing it, a lot of time because of uneven ground, like lot of time we in our ground also, our ground is not a very leveled or plain ground. We are yet to make lot of upgradation into our land because we have recently got the authorization for this new location, but there are some other issues I have popped up over there. That's why we are not able to make some changes what we are supposed to do it. Okay, so I will explain you when we are on the field what is the issue and why we are not able to do it. Okay, so we are awaiting some permissions also from the local authorities. Once we have the permission, we may change because we want to make a helipad over there and couple of vertiports over there. Okay, so we have applied for those permissions and looking for other permissions from the local bodies also. Okay, that's why you will see our ground is plain leveled, but still there are a lot of pebbles, stones, all these things are there. So there will be always variations. Okay, and there is a risk of landing the drone manually. So we will avoid, because when it is landing, it is coming near the ground. At that point in time, it is very challenging to land. So normally we'll always trigger RTL when we are landing the drone. Okay, so we will leave drone to take the decision to decide where it has to be land on its own. So normally from the launch position within the 3 meters of area, it will try to land safely. Okay. Hostile remote takeover or control of RPAS. This I explained you earlier that your remote can be taken control, your drone can be taken in control. But in case your remote and the drone is being binded by a secure key, then nobody can take the hostile takeover of your drone or your remote control. So anti-tampering measures has to be implemented. That means nobody can log in into your drone or nobody can take control of your GCS and all that things. You need to make sure that they are being password protected, like how we do in IT. Okay, the hardware is detectable by only specific proprietary software and is accessible only on machine installed with the driver. So that there are some key mechanisms are there where we can implement. So the only from a particular laptop or a desktop, only those can be connected to the drone or the devices. The software interface used for firmware access is protected by the password protection, and access is not provided to any customer. So even our drones, we do not have access to the software. That will be done by the OEM only. So they will come with their laptop. Even in case of upgradation of firmware or software, they will only do it. We will not have access. They don't give the key to us. Okay. So that's how they are. That is what been advised to them by DGCA as of now. Okay. Threat and error management. Threat and error management is an overreaching safety concept. This is a concept now given by the ICAO recently. Okay, that's why this slide is there. So normally what does it says is that there are three basic components of TEM framework. Okay, this is just a framework. As of now, this is not completely evolved. Still, it is in discussion, and it is, we are expecting more inputs from the ICAO coming on this. Okay, the threats are generally defined as events or errors that occur beyond the influence of line personnel, increasing operational complexities which may be managed by maintaining the margin of safety. Errors generally defined as action or inaction by the line person that leads to deviation of organizational or operational intentions or expectations. So errors, like for example, I give you example like when my pilot was flying a drone near the power line towers, he was not aware. Okay, so he brought the drone very close to the power line towers. That electromagnetic radiation burned my flight controller, and that's how my drone got damaged. Okay, those were error. Okay, done by the actions or inactions by the line person that lead to deviation. So actually, he was not aware at the initial point in time. Now he is being equipped. He is being instructed that you cannot go closer to the tower less than 5 meters. So he has to follow. अगर वो purposely करता है, that means knowingly he has done the error. Earlier he was not aware of this. Even nobody in the organization was aware of this situation. So that was unknownly error. But now we know that we cannot go near by 5 meters. So that is known error. So you can't ignore that. Okay. Undesired set generally defined as operational condition where unintended situations result in reduction in margin of safety. So a lot of time this happens. Like the same example what I told you about undesired set. Like earlier when it was when we damaged got our drone damaged, that was undesired state. We were not knowing about it. So that was undesired state. Now we are aware of it. So we know the threat, we know the errors. So if I'm deliberately doing it, that means it's a human error or mistake by the human. Okay. So earlier it was undesired. I was not aware of it, or my pilot was not aware of this situation. Okay. Or else I have to make sure that I'm using drones which are magnetically shielded also. There are drones available from DJI also, which has that feature. They are magnetic, so where I can bring those drones closer to that area. But again, they are not able to take or guarantee that you can take how closer it. So to be on a safer side, even though they are magnetically shielded, we are making sure that we are flying the drone at least minimum 5 meters away from the tower. Much 5 meters. To be on a safe side, we have always configured in our flight plan 10 meters. Okay, 8 to 10 meters away from the towers. Okay, in case of wherever we need a footage, जैसे कि insulators damage हो गए, उसका footage हमको clear close up चाहिए. So that time only we may manually take the drone little bit closer, but still not very close. 5 meter, that limit is always set in the software itself. Okay. Okay, so emergency identification, it could be pilot error, heavy winds, loss of altitude, remote control failure, compass failure, motor propeller damages, or even medical emergencies also. So these are all emergency identifications. Okay, so if you find anything, pilot error ho gaya, heavy wind ho gaya, loss of altitude, remote control failure, compass failure, any of this kind can become your emergency. You should see what is what. If there is anything from this, you can think that could be an emergency issue. Yes, Nishan.
So, sir, this means that we, as drone pilots, should always carry first aid kit with us.
Not you. For example, when the the agriculture drone flying in the car, that eco car where the drone was taken, there was a toolkit, there was a small first aid kit was there was a fire extinguisher was there. So these basic things we need to tell because on the field we will not have it. But if again it
Okay.
depends upon what kind of operations you are doing, what project you are doing. It depends upon it. So wherever see this topic is about risk. If you feel that is risky and possible for you to do it, you should do it. If it is not possible, then you should see what you are. Sometimes you carry that risk, right? You carry that risk. Okay, ठीक है देखेंगे जो होगा वो क्या. I mean, if you can't carry something somewhere everything, right? अगर आप suppose what we say you are going for a trekking. When you are going for a trekking, there is a lot of risk available, but then you can't carry gun over there or कुछ भी हो सकता है trekking के लिए जाने में. But then you will carry whatever like you will inform that what location you are going for trekking, who are people going with you. So whatever you which is in your control, you will do it. Which is not in your control, you have to live with that risk. Correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Any questions for us? Okay, so with that we complete the topic emergency handling. So this topic will keep on talking. Okay, next during our practical sessions we'll be discussing talking practically whenever the scenario appears. You will seeing these things all. Okay.
In 2 days, we covered so many things.
Yeah, definitely.
It was nice to hear from you, Mangesh.
Yeah. Same. So now there are only two small topics. These are not so critical from a perspective of a drone flying, but these are part of the drone education. Okay? BGC has put this topic as an introduction to them, or knowing what is what and all. So the last topic, this is second last topic, okay, payload, installation and utilization.